Hey everyone, let's wrap up November. Apart from my letter to November, I didn't upload any videos that weren't talking about a book. So let's jump right into the books. And let's start with the physical. Let's start with the physical books. I was in a rereading mood a lot. So I started with The Starless Sea. I really enjoyed the book the first time around, but had my issues with comprehending everything, and also there was a dip in enjoyment in the middle of it. And I felt that same dip. It starts off very captivating and fast paced, but then at some point things slow down and it drags a little bit, but then it picks up speed again to the end. What is this about? This is about a magic library, sort of. There is this huge underground library, but it's not really about the library, but more the people and the history of the library, secret societies, love and relationships, and just a lot of magical things happening. I really enjoyed the writing again in this book. I like how the story is told, constantly switching perspectives and what is talking about. So we see things from different perspectives, we get different stories, and everything is connected. And that's why I think this book definitely benefited from a reread, because I understood so much more of what was going on and saw more connections than the first time around. There's an old review up when I read it the first time. The other reread of the month was a Discworld novel, The Last Hero. This is the 27th book in the series and the 7th in the Rincewind sub-series, so not a good place to start. I know sometimes you can jump into any book, but this is very confusing if you don't have background knowledge about Rincewind, about the wizards, about the patrician, Leonard of Quirm, and also the gods, and of course the heroes. Conan the Barbarian and his friends, the Silver Horde, basically want to storm the mountain of the gods and blow it all up and go out in a blaze, and that's their plan. So Rincewind is the one who has to stop it, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I loved the writing, I loved the illustrations, everything. I have a full review up, so I go into a little bit more detail there. The last physical book I read was in German, Laufen. This is a book in German, unfortunately not translated yet, but I really, really enjoyed it. It's about a woman who lost her partner and starts running again. And it's all her thoughts only when she's running. And it's, I think, spanning a year of her life after the loss. So it's a lot of grief, process of how to continue life, and a lot of thoughts of running and what happened there, her remembering the time with her partner, and I just enjoyed it. It's very fast paced. It's about 200 and something pages and very easy to read, very relatable, but definitely grief and suicide. If you cannot deal with that, you should be warned. I talked about Laufen in a reading blog, and I also read Lemon in that reading blog. So Lemon is a book also about grief. I don't know how that happened. It's sort of about a murder mystery, but not really about solving the mystery, but more about what happened to the people that were connected to this high school murder and what happened to them in their lives. So it spans a lot of years, different characters, and how they deal with life and loss and the whole situation in general. It was well written. I enjoyed the writing. I felt a little bit lost at times, as it could have gone on forever. There's no ending. It's basically following those characters, showing them at different points in their lives. The perspectives switch always to the characters, and then at one point it just stops. But it could go on forever. The style is written, so I was lacking closure. But that doesn't mean it's a bad book. The last two novellas I read, I don't really want to recommend, I think. I read them on ebook, and the first one being Eeeee. Imagine that as a sound a dolphin makes. I'm not going to do that. Anyways, so the book is sort of following an pizza driver whose stream of consciousness in his life, and he's a little bit bored, doesn't know what to do with his life, and is overthinking things. It does feel at parts very well written. At other parts, it just feels pretentious. And then there are other parts where it's about animals that also move around and just appear. I can't really figure out what the animals are there for. So they at first appear a little bit like it's when he's on drugs and having hallucinations or illusions or dreams, but apparently it's not. It's strangely connected to what's going on. Basically, people being bored, depressed, sad, and not doing anything with their lives, and the general state of life. Maybe. I did not enjoy this. I do not recommend this. It's one of those books where you think it's either super cool and super in, or just pretentious. And I think I came down to pretentious. Which leads me to the last ebook I read, which was The Apprenticeship, or The Book of Pleasures. And that was similar to Eeeee in a way that I don't think I got it. But it had some strange aspects of sometimes the writing was, what the hell is going on? And at other times it was so beautiful. And the sentences and the things they said were really amazing. But overall, I'm lost a little bit. It's the story of a man and a woman, and they come together or starting a relationship and the way there. But it is more of that he thinks she's not ready for a relationship, so she needs to find herself again. It feels philosophical as an attempt at how to best find yourself to go into a relationship and start love, find love. But it overall felt a little bit forced, that I didn't see any reason for that. I don't know why they did that. It didn't really make them happy, this process, until they finally got together. Yeah, so that one passed me by as well. I mostly hated it all throughout reading it, but I just kept reading it because I couldn't sleep, and I was reading The Last Hero as well at the same time. And that one was hard to read in bed. On audio, I also finished two things. I finished another book in the Dresden Files, Turncoat, which is the 11th, I think. And the story progresses. It's urban fantasy about a wizard in Chicago nowadays being a detective, and a huge, grand fantasy epic thing with more and more characters and storylines and things happening. Like I said, it's the 11th book in a series. As usual, there are some annoying chauvinistic parts in it, but I think it's getting less. I'm not even sure, but I think it's getting less too than in the beginning. Which brings us to the last audiobook, which I mostly just finished in November. I think I listened to most of it in October, but I also have a reading blog up there for that. And it's Intuitive Eating. It's a nonfiction about this idea of intuitive eating, where you basically listen to your body and have some guidelines or principles of intuitive eating, but it's not a diet. And they talk a lot in the book about diet culture and how all the rules we set ourselves from eating or around eating that we pick up through our lives affect how we eat and how we think about food, and how that affects our eating habits and our relationship with food. And I really enjoyed most of it. I thought it was very interesting. I genuinely believe in intuitive eating, but I found out that I have lost a lot of the capabilities in recent years, and that I kind of tried following what they said. My main issue is that I tend to forget to eat. I don't feel like cooking, I don't have food around, so I ignore my hunger. And I've been trying to ignore hunger cues less and eat more, but that only worked for a few weeks, and now I'm back to like, oh gosh, I can't be bothered with eating. Anyway, so I think the physical book might be better than the audiobook, because I wanted to look things up, even though there is a PDF file with it. But the audiobook was well done and so very accessible. Yeah. I told you in October that I started learning Korean with Pimsleur courses, and that's where a lot of my audiobook or listening time goes, and that also happened in November. So I'm still at learning Korean, which is good, 2 months. I'm not bad at this, but I'm progressing slower. Pimsleur courses are built in the idea that you have course 1, course 2, course whatever, and each course is 6 audiobooks are 5 lessons. So each lesson is 30 minutes and you listen to 1 lesson a day. And I did that in October, but then I noticed at the beginning of November because things were rather stressful at the end of October that I forgot a lot. So I started November with re-listening to all of the October courses, and I did it in a way where I listened to one audiobook, so 5 lessons in one go every day, and then started off with Korean 2 and listened to one audiobook, so 5 lessons, and then put in a revision day for 5 lessons on one day. And I noticed that this way I remember more. And usually I notice that on the day when I listen to the 5 lessons in one go, that I pick up more, I'm getting better. But if I do that from the beginning, I am lost. So I need to listen to the half-hour lesson once and then revise the whole book again, which slows me down in my progress. I'm still enjoying it. I learned a few more things this month where it's about the learning or the progress of learning Korean. So there was also included reading lessons in Korean 1, and I noticed that that's what I have to do at home. So I need to sit down and look at how the writing is and the words, the pronunciation and stuff. And I struggle with that, which is why I chose, when I decided to learn something or do something other than read, watch TV and work and exercise, that an audio course would be the best choice. And it turns out it is, because that's what I can implement in my day. This is what I can manage. But sitting down at home to actually learn and do something, I find it hard. And so I don't know what to make of that. Another thing I noticed is that I'm a little bit frustrated at how bad I'm still at listening comprehension and how little vocabulary I feel I retain. At the moment, I'm not exactly sure how I will continue with the learning after I finish the Korean 2 courses, the 30 lessons there. Because at the moment, 2 has increased the pace of new words and repetition is less, but I also feel that I remember the words less because we don't use the same words all the time, which is of course in half an hour not possible. But I need a way to listen more than just 3-word sentences or 5-word sentences. So I'm not exactly sure what to do there. But at first I want to finish Korean 2. I'm at lesson 19 today. So I have about 2 weeks, and then I need to see how to continue. Not sure yet, but I'm still enjoying it and I am learning something. I feel that it's fun and the effect of doing something other than work, read, exercise, and watch TV is nice, but I don't know if I'm progressing or achieving as much as I thought I would or as I would like to be. Anyways, I rambled on enough for the amount I read and the weird books I read. I don't know. Let me know in comments if you have read any of the books I was talking about, what you're doing, how your reading was, if you've picked up something new to do, or if you're just waiting for the year to be over to make new goals and all these things. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Bye bye.